بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى صدق الله العظيم. Last week we had the opportunity to discuss in detail the explanation of Tazkiyah, the explanation of the body and the soul. So continuing with that explanation, inshallah. Last week we had mentioned that our body consists of two aspects: the jism, the outer body, the physical body, and the ruh, the spirit, the spiritual aspect of our body. And we explained the importance of both and the example of both. So continuing with that explanation to help us understand how we work as an individual. If a person wants to understand physical health, they have to study the body. They study the different systems of the body, right? And they're able to understand how a person's body works. A person wants to become a doctor to understand, how to keep people healthy and how to save them from becoming unhealthy. They study the body in detail. The same thing when it comes to our spiritual aspect. If we don't understand how our body works, we won't be able to understand what the needs of our body and spirit are. So that is why we have to understand this. So the explanation, again, continuing with the jism and the ruh. So we had explained the difference between the two, the importance of the two, and we had concluded that the ruh, when it comes to which one is more important, the ruh is more important than the jism. The spiritual aspect of our body is more important than the physical aspect of our body. That is what we had concluded. A follow-up to that, we can say that another way how we can understand this is that when it comes to actions, then good actions and bad actions, they will not directly affect our physical body. If a person was to do something impermissible, right? And depending on the act, sometimes it could harm your physical body, but in general, it will not directly harm your physical body, but it will harm your spiritual body, right? Same thing with good actions. When a person does a good action, physically no change will come to your body, but it will have a spiritual effect on your spiritual body, on your ruh. So actions, a'mal, have an effect on our ruh, and they don't have a direct effect on our jism. So we can understand this through this example that, let's say you have a jewelry box. Now, when you have the jewelry box, the main thing is not the jewelry box, it's what's inside, the jewelry that's inside. Same thing, let's say you have an envelope. The envelope is useless if there's nothing inside the envelope. If there's some cash or there's a check inside the envelope, then the envelope will become important. So same thing, our physical body without the ruh is nothing, right? It's like that envelope which is empty. If someone hands you an envelope on the day of Eid and you open it up and there's nothing inside, then this is useless. But if you open it up and there's there's $100 bill inside, there's a check inside, there's a gift card inside, and you feel happy. Okay, now this envelope is of use, right? So the envelope came to use when there was something inside. So same thing with our body as well. And if our ruh is corrupt, if our ruh is not healthy, then this physical body, no matter how good it is, will not benefit us. Our physical body can be extremely healthy, extremely handsome, extremely beautiful. But if a person's ruh is corrupt because of a person's a'mal being corrupt, then this beautiful and healthy body will not give us any benefit. On the other hand, a person physically, they may be disabled, they may be ugly, they may not be very nice to look at. But if their ruh is healthy, if their spiritual aspect of this is healthy, if their a'mal are good, their a'mal are in line with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, then no matter how ugly their physical body is, how unattractive they may be, because of the ruh being, you can say, at a higher level, because of the ruh being perfect, and this person's worth will automatically come up as well. That is why when the time came to give the first adhan in Makkah al-Mukarramah, when the Muslims took over, when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam took over, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam he didn't choose the most handsome person. He chose Bilal radiallahu anhu. Who Bilal radiallahu anhu, in those days people used to give importance to his color of the skin. He was a black Abyssinian slave. Everyone else was Arab, they were light skinned. He didn't see who is most beautiful. He saw that whose ruh is of that level that I can choose him to give adhan on top of the Kaaba. Right? So this gives us the understanding that ruh is important, or spirit, or ruh, or inner body, or spiritual self. This is of extreme importance, and this is what we have to work on. So now we're coming back to those two terminologies that we discussed last week: Quwwat-ul-Ghaḍabiyyah and Quwwat-ul-Shahawiyyah. We said that in order for the physical body to remain healthy, then there's these two strengths that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, these two powers that we have. And it is through these powers or we're able to stay healthy physically. One was Quwwat-ul-Ghaḍabiyyah, the other one was Quwwat-ul-Shahawiyyah. Quwwat-ul-Shahawiyyah we can understand as being a strength or a power which gives a person the ability to desire something, desire those things which a person is in need of, which a person needs, and which a person desires, right? So the ability and power to desire something. Quwwat-ul-Ghaḍabiyyah can be explained as ability and power and strength to repel harm from an individual. So because of when a person has ability to obtain that what is beneficial and to repel harm, then you will save your physical body. You'll be able to acquire what you need to keep your physical body healthy, and you'll be able to repel harm from your physical body. So these are two strengths and powers that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given every individual. Now shahwa, normally when we hear the word shahwa, desire, we think that desire is something bad. Desire is not something bad. Shahwa, you need shahwa. If you don't have shahwa, you will not be able to work, you will not be able to earn money for your family, you will not be able to eat, you will not be able to sleep. Because if you have no desire of anything, you won't desire to sleep. And then you'll become unhealthy. You won't desire to eat, you'll become extremely weak. You won't desire to go out and make a living for your family. What's going to happen? You're going to have problems. Right? So desire is needed, but it has to be within the limit. Then same thing when it comes to Quwwat-ul-Ghaḍabiyyah. Think of anger, the ability to defend oneself. So anger, again, when you hear anger, you think anger is not bad. You should not be angry. A person should be controlled. No, anger is needed, but you have to know how to control your anger. If a person has no anger within them at all, they have no sense of what do you call it? They have no sense of um, uh, the word in Arabic is slipping my mind. Um, when a person sees something bad happening to themselves or their family, right? Then you have this feeling within you. غيرت, right? So the word in Arabic and also in Urdu is غيرة, right? It's very difficult to translate this accurately in English, right? So غيرت, when you see, let's say someone is harming your family, you feel, no, how can I let this person harm my family? Someone is taking what is yours, you need to have that anger within you. So it's called Quwwat-ul-Ghaḍabiyyah. If you did not have that, someone would come take everything from your house, you wouldn't care. Someone would come and degrade your family, you wouldn't care. Right? So these are two strengths and two abilities which are in a person, and every person has to have them, and every person has them. Now, when these two abilities and these two strengths and powers are in balance, then a person's aql and intellect becomes balanced. When a person's aql and intellect is balanced, a person is able to make the right choices for what a person is going to do. What kind of right choices? That the thing I'm going to do, is this what Allah wants me to do, or does Allah not want me to do this? When a person's those two strengths, Quwwat-ul-Ghaḍabiyyah, Quwwat-ul-Shahawiyyah, are in balance, then a person's aql, intellect, is in balance. When a person's aql is in balance, he or she will make the wrong choices. He will make a choice to do something wrong, to do something which is harmful for themselves, for their spiritual self, for their physical self. Right? So these two abilities, when they are balanced, then a person's physical body remains balanced. When they remain balanced, then a person's aql, intellect, which is a third strength, becomes balanced, and that in turn helps a person remain balanced spiritually as well. So this is what tasawwuf and tazkiyah is about. It's about teaching a person, training a person how to keep those two strengths in balance. How much of shahwah do you need? How much of ghadab do you need? How to keep the balance? If a person has an anger problem, how to control that anger? If a person has a problem of falling into sin, how do you control yourself to stay away from that sin? Because shahwah, you cannot get rid of shahwah. You have to know how to control the shahwah. So when any of these two become imbalanced, then a person's spirit, a person's ruh becomes imbalanced and unhealthy. Right? So when a person's ruh is unhealthy, you have to go to a doctor who understands the ruh and is able to prescribe you the medicine that you need to keep your ruh healthy. Just how physically, if a person is unhealthy, you go to the doctor, he will give you medicine so you can physically remain healthy. He will tell you exercise this much, eat this, don't eat that, and then you will become healthy. Then once you become healthy, you have to maintain that health. So same thing goes with the ruh as well. So inshallah, tomorrow we will speak about physically how do you keep the ruh healthy and what makes the ruh healthy. So once a person has these two qualities or these two powers, these two strengths in balance, then what happens and how does a person advance spiritually, or what nourishes the soul? So we spoke about what nourishes the body, these two things. So what nourishes the soul, we'll speak about that tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us tawfiq to understand our deen properly and to understand these are discussed.